7 o'clock, so we'll give everyone a few more minutes. And I'll remind everybody that we do record these meetings, and you can find them on our YouTube channel.
Dean, that sweatshirt looks good on you.
Yeah, for people who don't know, this is a new item. It's like a light hoodie version of the quarter zip. So yeah. And I actually did wear it to squeeze in a workout just before this call. So there you go. I'm in St. Paul this week, and I was at the St. Paul Club last night, and I'm gonna head over to Frogtown after this. All right, 7:02. So I think we'll get started. Hopefully everybody received the agenda. And that first agenda item, we're really looking for just feedback. We know it wasn't, the whole process this year wasn't seamless. We did our best to do a few manual overrides of things. But if there are particular issues that you've heard about with your members or your club leadership, certainly feel free to raise them. I was at St. Paul, and there was something that came up that I wasn't aware of last night in a conversation. So this is your opportunity to tell us, whether it's complaints or concerns or whatever else you've heard from members about as the membership renews. We think we have a solution next year or a number of solutions to solve some of the problems that we had this year. If I hear nothing, I'll be happy. I'll assume that we're overreacting, but we've been concerned about it. So, but
hey, Dean.
Yeah,
I just have one comment.
Sure.
The deadline being November 30th, like right after Thanksgiving, holiday weekend, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Maybe not ideal. If it's possible to move that by a week or two.
Yeah. So
helpful for people like Lauren.
Yeah, it's a great point, Mike. And I think not only Thanksgiving, but having it the date for when clubs submitted rosters and then the new membership year starting. So Lauren's suggestion, and it's a good one to do next year, is we're going to extend the membership so it expires December 31, keep the cutoff for roster submissions the 30th, but that gives us time to process rosters before memberships expire. So, and it won't always land on Thanksgiving, but that's a thing that we could probably look at, since November 30th won't be the end of the membership year, Mike. We could adjust that date a little bit too. So if you got a membership this year, you're going to get an extra month next year of membership for 1 year. But we've also had a number of calls with Sport 80 to try to resolve some of the things. And, I would say that in those calls where we make progress, but maybe not as quickly as some of us would like, but we are improving it. Any other questions or things? That's a good thought though, Mike, and appreciate it. If anybody else has, I know you probably heard from members with the competitor membership too. That was another challenge this year when people were signing up for events that were into the next membership year, but needed a competitor membership that was expiring. So we'll figure that out too. But I apologize if you heard any pushback from people, but we're happy to get the feedback. With that, I'll go into the athlete outreach initiative. I think we've done 2 this year so far. For people who don't know, that was funded by Bill Peskoff out of New Jersey. And it lets a club bring an with without having to worry about any costs. It covers transportation, compensation to the athlete. We just ask the club to, when we do a clinic, that the club has a registration fee for that clinic, so we can try to gain back some of those costs and make the money perpetuating rather than just go through it. But we've done, I think Steve Empt and Sean Sadowski did a para session in Kalamazoo, and I may be forgetting too, there might have been I can't remember if the one in Bowling Green was last season or this year, a para with Laura Dwyer, and then Delaney Strauss was just out doing a session. So one thing I will say is that if your club's interested in one of those, it does get easier to book those after the Nationals in February. The tour season isn't quite as busy as well, so more players are available. So reach out to Jenna Bercheski if you're interested in that, and we can talk you through it. I think there was a Cliff, you had won a triangle last year that I think went pretty well.
Yes, we did, and it went very well. We had
Sydney Mullaney.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Sydney. Yes, she was great.
Good.
We all adored her.
Right. I'll also say there's an Ice Tech course taking place. So that's the part of the new Ice Tech certification. We certainly need the right number of people at it, but it's the week before the Nationals in Duluth at Mike's Club in Superior. So if you're interested in it, take a moment to register. We're also going to circle back with Minnesota Curling Association, Wisconsin about that as well. But so far, all reviews of that course have been really good. So I'd encourage you to consider it. If you're a club leader, consider rewarding if you have volunteer ice techs in particular, reward them with a chance to learn, and then that will translate into better conditions at your club. Junior mixed doubles was in Duluth. Big thanks to the Duluth Curling Club for hosting those really over Thanksgiving weekend. It ran from Friday to Sunday. Obviously, pros and cons with Thanksgiving. It was tough in a lot of ways, but some parents actually like the fact that the kids weren't out of school as much, but certainly challenging, but definitely appreciate Duluth for doing that and also being pretty involved in the men's and women's nationals. But if there's any feedback on that you've heard, I'd love to hear it. We've had some from competitors, if there was any other feedback. And I will tell you too, if there are young players in your club that didn't play in it for whatever reason, but would like to play in a higher level junior mixed doubles event, they are doing a U25 mixed doubles before the junior mixed doubles worlds in Edmonton in end of April. So that's an opportunity that's basically, you can just enter. So that would be a good opportunity for young teams as well. I don't know if anybody heard from anybody who was at mixed doubles. I was there Saturday and Sunday, but big thanks to Sean Olson, who was there working on the ice, and again, the Duluth Club. So, and our officials who were there, many of them giving up, at least two of them giving up Thanksgiving Day to be at the club. So appreciated it. Okay, I'll move on. Men's and women's nationals and trials updates tickets are on sale for all those events. Sioux Falls tickets are actually live right now, but we're going to announce them tomorrow. We wanted to make sure that the platform is working well. So that's Sioux Falls starting November 11th. The mixed doubles tickets are available. And I may have said this before, but the mixed doubles trials and the team trials will be on the qualifying round streamed on Peacock. And we're meeting with NBC on Friday to get a little more information. Linear network, they'll put it on the weekend because that will be on regular TV on Saturday and Sunday. So, and men's and women's nationals, if you got any idea about going, it's going to be great. We had, the arena, for people who don't know, it's in the Deck Arena, which is connected to the Duluth Curling Club. There's 2 arenas. It's the older one, but it's pretty cool old arena. We had Dale's out there 2 weeks ago. We're going to make a Dale's house at one end of the rink. And of course, you're convenient to the Duluth Curling Club. You can go from the rink to the Duluth Curling Club without going outside, which might be appreciated in January, in February. But yeah, so think about that, especially if you're in the area. But even if you're not, I know some of you live in places where people will think you're crazy if you're going to Duluth at the end of January. But I think it's going to be great. Dale's shot of the week. So there's a Facebook post up right now where you can submit your Dale's shot of the week suggestion. Now we call it shot of the week just so everybody knows. We're committed contractually, I think, to do 15 of these. So it's not going to be every single week, but we're going to post and then we'll cut it off. I think we'll cut this one off on Friday. But all you have to do is submit a video on the Facebook comments of that post, and it'll be considered for the shot of the week. We'll have some sort of Dale's prize. I'm not sure what. I don't think it's going to change your life, but you'll also be noted as the shot of the week to your curling friends. So if you see a great shot at your club and you have streaming or somebody captured on a phone, make sure you tell them about Dale's shot of the week. So any questions on that? I think it's about 4 posts back on the Facebook page right now. And if anybody wants to weigh in the comments on what's up there now and what they think is the best, go for it. And then, with that, I'll just open it up to questions and new business from anybody. If anybody has questions or things they've noticed, I will say it was just pointed out to us too that we had one typo in the 5 and under qualifying that we're fixing. If it shows the eligibility, we had 2027 in consecutive years. So we'll fix that. But if anybody has questions, if you're getting questions from your 5 and under curlers about eligibility, we haven't had a ton of them, to be honest. I think most people understand what the mistake was, but we're fixing it, and happy to entertain questions about eligibility. Obviously, with 5 and under, we're never going to, if somebody really wanted to game the system and try to sneak an extra year of eligibility, I'm not going to say that we have such a process that it would never happen. So it's 10 less than 10 games in a season. Doesn't count as a year of eligibility. And just so people know, the 2020-21 season doesn't count for anyone. So that's part of the little thing we have going on. So we'll be happy when we're 5 years past COVID and we can forget about that. So yeah, so that's up there. Any other questions, new business, exciting things anybody has heard about curling? Have people watched the Grand Slams?
I loved watching the Grand Slam this weekend. Well, when it was, I'm a big Brad Jacobs fan, so it wasn't the best outcome, but
it was exciting when he got booed and played to the crowd, and that was all fun. I will say, so Nick Selsky, the curling group, I talked to him yesterday. They do want to bring a Grand Slam to the U.S. next year. So just like us, it's about finding the right venue, but that is definitely something they want to do. There's a few other things they're planning right for the end of this season as well. So they're ambitious, and it's been exciting, I think, to see it unfold, and hopefully they can maintain the momentum they have right now. Matt Sussman, are you going to be the broadcaster for the Junior Nationals, correct? While I have you here, I'm going to say that can you be the lead broadcaster?
I can be. I was
put you on
going
the
to ask
spot.
if I could be involved, but
Yeah. All right.
I'm planning, between
Okay, great.
Lauren Whitmer and myself and all of our volunteers. We got a lot going on. I was definitely want to be
I won't hold
involved
you
in
to
that.
doing every game. I'm just lining you up. So
Yeah. I'm happy to be part of it because I've been doing a little bit of that on the side this year. So
Sure.
yeah, I got some ideas, and I'm excited to have the juniors come, because we've got a pretty good junior program ourselves in the U18 division. So I think they're going to be excited to see some of the bigger kids on their ice.
Yeah, that's great. One other thing I'll add too, just an update. So we are moving our content platform to a new, our house is moving to a new content platform, and we are just trying to iron out the Sport 80 single sign-on for that. Insanely frustrating because I don't know how to do that, but it's working towards happening. So I think the new platform is a lot more dynamic and interesting. That's where the coach education module will live and hopefully be live by the end of the week. So that will be, you'll notice a change there. When you go to our house, it'll now be, it's still our house, but the platform is a different one. It's called Slow Coach, and terrible name, but it has a lot of interesting features. We're going to have an expert section where we'll have players and club builders and coaches can be on there. And then there's groups, and it's got a little more of a social media feel, I guess, in terms of how you interact with it. So excited about it. I wish it was live right now. I mean, it's live. It just it doesn't connect right. So hopefully that gets resolved in a way that I can't resolve it. So, I mean, it will get resolved, not hopefully. Did anybody, maybe this, I guess it probably didn't come up in the last one. Did we talk about the last chance mixed doubles qualifier? If anybody had any feedback on that, I can't remember if that was in the last meeting or not, but I don't know if anybody in this call played in it. Vanessa, I think you played in it, right?
Yes, we did.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, it was fun. I actually did have a question on that.
Sure.
We had during one of our games, we had a rule clarification, and Phil Drumnick brought out the pocket-sized WCF rule book.
Yeah.
Is there any way that clubs could get a copy of that?
Well, I'm going to say you must have had an old one, because World Curling doesn't actually print them anymore. So, and that's one of those events where I know were you on the ice when he called Susie Cernetsky to get a clarification?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep. That was our game.
Yeah. I wish there were pocket-sized ones of those, but part of the sustainability effort with World Curling is they don't want to print them, so it's as a PDF right now. So you're not the first to ask, but we went to the World Curling rules to try to avoid sort of conflicts and things of our rules versus other rules, and I think on balance, it's been a good decision, but there are some times when it gets a little tricky. For instance, if we have to be clear in our EPDs when our format doesn't match what one of the World Curling formats and how we'll do playoffs and things like that. So obviously, for instance, World Curling doesn't have a 48 team mixed doubles, multiple pools format. So, but yeah, sorry, we don't have a printed version.
Yeah, makes sense. I definitely understand the sustainability perspective, but it's hard to look through a PDF when you're on the ice.
On the ice, on your phone, I agree with you.
Yep.
Dean, this is Dan. I also
Ann.
played at the mixed doubles last chance. I
Yep.
know that there's a lot of talk around the qualification process for the playoffs, in the sense that the LSD, DC, DSD would qualify teams over a record. And so there
Yeah.
is like a 1 and 2
There was a
record
1 and 2 team that qualified.
over a 2 and 1 team. So
Yeah.
in a sense, the wins for those teams didn't really matter as much as the draw shot, which I know matches up with the world Curling Federation and how Worlds run, but I know there was a lot of talk around that.
I appreciate you saying that. I have heard that from somebody else, and quite honestly, I tend to agree with you that it's something we need to look at. I think probably with that, we should probably do what they do on tour, where, you know, if you win your pool, you qualify, but then after that, it goes to overall just to records. So yeah, I think that in retrospect, that would have been the better way to go. And I apologize to anyone who felt like they missed out in the playoffs as a result of that.
Yeah, thank you. Can I also go back to the 5U conversations as well?
Yeah.
Just wondering, we have a lot of 5U players from the DTCA region.
Sure.
And they were kind of wondering if there's any work being done on the 23 club or Spiel qualifiers and kind of evening them out in the sense of how the Spiels are run so that they're fair and fair throughout, I guess, all the qualifiers in the sense of single elimination versus a triple knockout versus other formats.
Yeah. So one thing we're going to do is open up the application process for next year's 5 and under qualifiers earlier, and then announce them earlier. In terms of standardization, I don't think it'll ever be as standardized as some people would like, because we do like to make sure that clubs, you know, a lot of these are established bonspiels. So for instance, the Frozen 5 in Madison, they've run for years, and it's probably one of the biggest ones. So we want to be careful as an organization about trying to demand how these spiels are run. And I know that can be frustrating to some teams. I would also suggest, though, that we don't have another national championship that has 23 paths to qualifying. So while I realize that maybe, you know, there's some different formats, et cetera, you know, you can play a number of weekends to get a spot. So we have standardized some things in terms of number of ends, and you know, I don't think we would ever get to a place where we'd say it has to be a triple knockout bonspiel, it has to be a pool play, it has to be, or it has to be an events bonspiel. So, but we will continue to look to ways to standardize them. I know there's also issues, you know, a lot of, you know, I know Dakota Territory has a good solution, I think, for your regional 5 and under championship, where you have one side plays for the regional championship, the other side is open, and then the finals is between those two winners. That's, I think, a good workaround. So you still have a regional championship. Not every other region will embrace that. So we have to work through some of those things as well. There is a group, and some of them are just graduating out of 5 and under, but that will pull together in February here to get some more feedback. I guess what I'd say is, honestly, I don't think that will ever be perfect for everyone. I mean, first of all, that group is insanely competitive. They love, not insanely, but they love to compete. So, and I love that, but I don't know if we can ever completely standardize 23 5 and under bonspiels across the country, and also make it so that, you know, there's geographic distribution. So I guess that's my best answer. We'll work for more standardization, but, you know, they're never going to be like 23 play down events.
Sure, thank you.
Sure, thanks, Ann. Is there anybody on here from Milwaukee, from the Milwaukee club who's hosting Club Nationals? I guess not. I'll follow up with them, because I want to make sure that if you're one of the if you're a club that's hosting a national championship that has a host spot available in it, so that's, you know, mixed Club Nationals, U18s, And I bring this up because Ann had fun with this last year at her club, but it's, you know, it's important to sort of establish how you're going to award that host spot. I was at St. Paul last night, and they have the 5 and unders. So they had 6 teams enter for the spot, and they're going to play throughout the year for that spot. But just, you know, one bit of advice, so you don't, you know, as it's things that naturally happen, right? We think they're, you know, and then all of a sudden you have somebody who's not sure why the host spot was awarded a certain way. So trying to think who else is on here would have that this year. I don't have a whole lot else. I know I will say, you know, we're working pretty closely with Dales to keep rolling things out. If you don't have it in your club yet, it's not through lack of effort on our part, or Ken at Dales. So I know, for instance, they had kegs at St. Paul, but they drank them all, and now the distributor hasn't restocked them, so they're kind of waiting for that. So hopefully Dale's, you know, they're really happy with the sponsorship so far and just the uptake. So we just need to make sure they're on it. And even if you're an arena club, if you have a bonspiel, you know, where you might have, you know, either beer sales or even just promotion at a nearby establishment, don't be afraid to reach out to me, and I'll connect you with the local sales rep, sales managers, because they are willing to try to do things with that too. Any other questions?
Hey, Dean, I did have a question.
For sure. Go ahead, Bernie.
I was just curious, for the Nationals tickets
Yep.
for gold members. I know that there's discount for the tickets. Code sent out.
Yeah. So yeah, there will be, Bernie. So you'll get you're a loyal gold member, so we'll make sure you get that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. You also get a chance, by the way, as a gold member, to be in the webcast booth for an end. So if you're there, I hope you're ready.
Very cool. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
So.
will do my best. I'll need help though.
No, we won't. We're just gonna leave you in there solo, Bernie. Just
Oh,
like
man,
Vin Scully style.
Okay.
So work on your broadcast chops.
Absolutely. Just a bit outside.
There you go.
Get my Harry Doyle going.
Yep. We are getting more. I think it looks like the silver membership is doing better than the premium, for instance, did. And appreciate all the gold members like Bernie and Brett Jackson, our chair here, is a gold member as well. So appreciate that. I saw Rich Roonin last night. He's a gold member. I thanked him. I told him I was keeping it an auto renew for the rest of his life, even if he tried to change it. Yeah, so appreciate all that. I think, one other thing I wanted to cover just before is we are planning to, and I want to do this somewhat carefully because I don't want it to be miscommunicated. But we are going to introduce a one-day membership, completely optional one-day membership. And so this will be a $5 membership. And this will be a membership that a club can either tell their people who do Learn to Curls or private events, tell them to get it, make them to get it, whatever you want to do. It will be through Sport 80. A pretty simple link you'd share, $5. They'll get a pass on their phone that they'd be able to show, if the club wanted to require it, that they got this $5 membership. Now, what it will do for the club is it will give that person an extra layer of insurance, coverage, which, you know, could help in case somebody has an injury. Maybe your general liability then doesn't come into play because they get a little bit of insurance coverage for that. So there's that as a benefit for the club. The other thing is we're going to use the names, the emails and stuff, and that we get from those memberships. We will use that database to communicate to those people. So every month we'll send something out to those people, which will know that they have tried curling for one day. And we'll be sending out emails to suggest they try it again, or, you know, if they didn't join the club, they should. And then we'll really like to ramp that up during the Olympic Games and get that communication out there consistently and say, you know, you can go to your club to do a Learn to Curl during the Olympics. Now, we won't know which club those people went to, but I don't think it really matters because they'll know which club they were at. They're likely to go back to the one they were at. So we'll take on some Learn to Curl post private event marketing on behalf of clubs. So again, the reality is it's completely optional for clubs. I don't want clubs to think that USA Curling is trying to get into your business of corporate events, because we are not. The way I would see a lot of clubs doing it, and I used to run a lot of corporate events in my club, I wouldn't want the hassle of trying to manage it. So you can send out a link if you have a private event and say, hey, we want everybody to get this one-day membership, or we like you all to get this one-day membership, and they get it themselves. I think we're going to keep it pretty simple in terms of they'll fill in the date of when their event is and their name, and then they'll get the badge on their phone. So that's coming in the new year. And I you know, again, our concern on communication is just people thinking USA Curling is somehow, you know, getting in on your corporate events. We're not. It's entirely optional. But if you think about it just on behalf of the sport, I mean, I'm fairly certain that in an Olympic year especially, well over 100,000 people step on curling ice. And I think that that's a good story that we'd like to be able to tell, and say we have this, you know, database of names. Jim, you have your hand up.
Yeah, would the clubs then, excuse me, be able to get those emails and names from folks that signed up? Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question, Jim. I hadn't thought about that because I was trying to make it so that we take on the responsibility and get out to those people. I think probably yes. I think I just have to make sure that that's something we're able to do, but I think that would be certainly something good for us to do. So yeah, short answer is I think so. And we'll figure out how to do that.
Yeah, because normally we reach out to previous group organizers that sign up and stuff. If we have a little bit bigger, we might be able to get more people coming in for Learn to Curls and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's the reality I found when I was running events was I had the organizer's email, but I didn't know anybody else who was in. And, you know, I was a volunteer and I was usually running into the club to set it up and run an event, and I wasn't too interested in going around getting everybody's emails. So I think this can be a way to make that process work for everyone. But I think there's probably a way to do that, especially if we know the date of your event, and we can probably. I don't want to overpromise here, but I'm going to, and I don't want to make the application for the one-day membership. We want to keep it frictionless, but maybe we also ask the location. You know, we have the date and the location.
Dean, there's a question in the chat. Liz asked, how does the individual find out about it? Is the club encouraging it? I think the answer would be yes, the club would be sending the email to the point of contact that they have with the organization for the corporate event or the private event, and asking them to have everybody sign up. And then when they show up, they'll have a pass on their phone with a little QR code that shows that they've got the membership for that day.
Yeah. So yeah, again, I think it's something that, you know, I mean, I'll be honest, if I was doing an event at my club and we had a policy where everybody had to get that membership, you know, we would probably, and I was running the event, I would probably ask everybody to show it on my phone. Does that mean I'd keep somebody off the ice if they didn't have it? I'd probably not. But I think it does add a little layer of protection. So I think it'll be, you know, easy for clubs to share with the event organizer or all the people, depending on what you have. You know, here's the link, get the 1-day membership. You know, obviously we'd love it if clubs made it a requirement, but we're certainly not going to ask that. Sorry, I didn't have the chat open, so I apologize for that. I also noticed, for anybody who's weirded out, I'm trying an AI thing that takes notes and then puts it into a summary. It's I'm sort of pleased that it's not perfect, but it's somewhat helpful. Vanessa, I tend to agree with you on that, the possible controversial opinion. I think varying formats for 5U gets new curlers exposed to different formats. I tend to think that with our junior players, we have the same issue with junior qualifiers. The reality is, if you're on a competitive curling journey, when you start playing, you will play. If you start playing in some of the lower tier tour events, you'll play all different kinds of formats. So I do think it's part of adjusting and becoming a better curler. Oh, Robert asked, yeah, saying that they require waivers. So we'll also include a waiver in that 1-day contract that will be, you know, generic. It'll say at a USA Curling member club. So, you know, that wouldn't supersede, of course, a club getting their own waiver done as well. I think the reality is that I realize that there are clubs that, you know, collect all the contact information, but then, you know, not every club is staffed with a manager or things like that. So sometimes it can be tough to do a regular cycle of reconnecting with those people. And that's something we'd like to help with. It's an interesting idea. Jonathan saying one idea to entice participants is include a certificate of completion of a Learn to Curl event. It's kind of fun. Yeah, I kind of like that. And to be completely transparent, the insurance for it will be, we'll pay every month $2.50 per participant. There's some admin fees for us, so, you know, we're not going to be raking in a ton of money from this. Certainly some would be helpful, but that's not really why we're doing it. Interesting. Yeah, for 1-day membership. See, this is why we have this group. Includes a $5 coupon to USA Curling merch purchase or more. Great idea. We can always give someone $5 off in the store. And they spend $200 and we're way ahead. Great idea. Jeff says they have a little swag bag with their sticker and info about Instructional League and a canvas bag that if they use it around town, it gives us some free marketing. Also interesting. Stickers are amazingly popular. All good ideas there. Appreciate it. All right. Sorry, I missed the chat questions. And we'll roll out some more we'll roll out some more, some fair amount of communications around this 1-day membership. Because like I said, I don't want it to be misinterpreted, or we don't want it to be misinterpreted. It's a good idea here. Larry from Atlanta is asking what the typical rate clubs charge to attend a Learn to Curl event. I'll start with my own club. I know we do a curling experience. I think it's 90 minutes now. I'd almost suggest just an hour, but it's 90, I think, and it's $50. I don't know what anybody else does. That's just one where you sign up online. Teresa, 20 for 2 hours. $15 through Park and Rec. Seattle Granite. What is Seattle Granite? 25. I don't know if it's just because everything in New Jersey is expensive, but so far we're the tops. But $50 hasn't impacted the numbers. I'm not that involved with it, but it's selling out. 15, so it's running sort of anywhere from 10 to 25 to 50. Phil's saying they sell out in minutes and could absolutely charge more. You know, one of the things I always say is if you charge more, you're probably getting people who are more, it may not just be a bucket list thing, and you might be able to actually do fewer, so it's less stress on volunteers and bring in the same amount of revenue. But yeah, Matt's correct. It's always going to vary based on, you know, honestly, I would say, I'm looking at the chat here, but I would say pricing and curling is always a challenge, to be honest. I mean, we struggle with what to price tickets for nationals and trials at. Just so people know, we're actually trials tickets this year and nationals tickets. They're cheaper than they have been. We're going to go a little less and hope get some more volume. Teresa says our corporate event is $750 minimum and then $35 after a certain amount of people. Green Bay, $20 for 2 hours. Yeah, I mean, Jeff notes about $50. I mean, if you throw in a few things that really don't cost the club much, like a free beverage or a burger or something or whatever you can, that's probably goes a long way. We don't do that at my home club, but certainly something worth considering. Rock Creek, $40 for adults, $20 for youth. I think that's the key. Teresa's saying what their break even point is, so they need 20 signups to make it work. Brett says they do a 3-week Learn to Curl to gain members. That's $125. I love this part. This also goes toward the price of their first year of membership. I know that clubs, including mine, I think in 2010, did that during the Olympics. They could get a league that went through the end of the year, and then that went towards next year's membership. Single 2-hour event is $45 at Detroit, so similar to my own club. The reason we suggest 90 minutes or even an hour is that first time on the ice, we find that if you do it an hour, it's just not quite enough time, and people want to do it again. 90, same sort of thing, but in my experience doing these is at 2 hours, you get people it's their first time on the ice. They start to get tired and cold, and they might fall, and then they're not as excited to come back. So I'd suggest to clubs, you know, that you try, if you're struggling to fill things, try different things. You know, Robert, if you you already mentioned that you're collecting emails and from Learn to Curls, which is great. Traverse City really kept a good database, for instance, and when they went to curling specific facility, they Brett could confirm this, I think, but I think they went from 150 curlers in the arena to 400 in the club pretty quickly, because they had a lot of people who liked it in the arena, but really weren't enthusiastic about curling late at night or dragging rocks out of a freezer or whatever else our dedicated arena curlers have to do. Yeah, that's a good idea, Jeff. Team Learn to Curls. While we're still on here, I'll also, if I haven't already, I'll remind people that the mixed doubles trials, the qualifying rounds will be on Peacock, with Curling Stadium doing that coverage. Well, so we're going to have all sheets covered, and Peacock NBC has indicated Peacock would pick up all those sheets for the qualifying rounds, and then the Saturday and Sunday games when we get into the playoffs will be on one of the linear networks. And then this same situation in Sioux Falls, where Saturday and Sunday will actually have about 7.5 hours of continuous coverage with a middle portion there between games that will be highlights from the wheelchair mixed doubles. And for people who don't know, we have one of our independent director right now, and we're searching for 2 more, as Brett would tell you about. But our independent director, Paul Wilson, used to was in charge of all the ad sales for the Olympics at NBC for a number of years. So he's been really helpful in, advising me and our team on working with NBC. So that's been super helpful. All right. Yeah, we're excited to be in Sioux Falls. Teresa? Jim, are you going to be at the club tonight at Frogtown?
No, I will not, unfortunately.
All right.
I was going to say, enjoy.
Okay. I saw you the other morning there, so yeah.
Yeah. Should have joined us.
I should have. I realized I made a big mistake not bringing my shoes and knee brace, and problem is I'm a high maintenance curler. I've got a knee brace and I need the right shoes, and so.
Well, next time.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's all I have. Nobody else has anything else. If Lauren or anybody on our team or Brett thinks there's something else I should cover, fire away, but otherwise I think we'll wrap it up. All right. Oh, thanks everybody. I appreciate you joining these calls and, bringing feedback to your club and getting feedback from your club to us. It's certainly helpful. And just right tonight, we got a bunch of good ideas. So thanks.